You're probably settling into your chair right now, maybe with a cup of tea or just taking a quiet moment for yourself. You look around your home at the pictures on the mantel, the familiar furniture, and you feel a sense of peace. You've worked hard to get here, but if you're like me, someone who has crossed that 60-year threshold, there's a quiet battle happening inside your body that you might not even realize you're fighting. It's a battle for your heart, and the most surprising part is that the weapons being used against it are likely sitting right inside your own medicine cabinet. I'm not a doctor. I don't wear a white coat or carry a stethoscope. My name is Harold Bennett, and I'm 81 years old. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, the son of a man who spent his life working on manufacturing lines. He knew machines inside and out, but he ignored the warning signs of his own body until his engine just quit on him. I spent my working years in community health education trying to help folks like my dad understand the medical jargon that doctors use so they could actually protect themselves. Now, I live out here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and a few years ago, around the time I turned 78, my own engine started sputtering. My blood pressure, which had always been steady, started swinging wildly. I was tired all the time. That's when I started having some very serious conversations with my son Daniel, a physical therapist in Denver, and my daughter Laura, a registered nurse down in Phoenix. What they help me understand, and what I want to share with you today, goes against almost everything we've been casually told about the pills we pop every day. There are common things we swallow for an aching knee, a sour stomach, or a stuffy nose that are quietly damaging the cardiovascular system of older adults. This isn't about scaring you. It's about giving you the knowledge to protect the engine that keeps you going. Let's start with something almost everyone has in their house right now, the nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. We know them as ibuprofen, naproxen, the pills you grab when your back aches after working in the yard or when your arthritis flares up. They work, they take the edge off. But what Laura explained to me is that taking these regularly after age 60 is like putting a severe strain on an aging plumbing system. I had a buddy back in Ohio who loved working on old cars. He had bad knees and popped those anti-inflammatory pills every single day just to get through his hobbies. One afternoon, he couldn't catch his breath and his ankles swelled up like balloons. He ended up in the emergency room with acute heart failure. His heart, which was already dealing with the natural stiffness of age, simply couldn't pump anymore. The reason is mechanical. Those pain pills block the enzymes that cause inflammation, but they also block the substances that protect your kidneys and your blood vessels. This forces your body to hold on to salt and water. Imagine your heart as a pump pushing fluid through pipes. If you suddenly flood those pipes with excess water, that pump has to work at maximum capacity. A young pump might handle it, but an older one can fail under that pressure. Plus, those pills can actually constrict your blood vessels, making the pressure even higher. Even if you take blood pressure medication, a steady diet of ibuprofen can completely cancel it out. I learned to use those pills only when absolutely necessary, at the lowest dose, and I rely more on gentle stretching and warm compresses now. Now let's talk about the second thing that completely blindsided me. The stomach protectors, the proton pump inhibitors, like omeprazole. So many folks our age take these every single morning to fight off heartburn or reflux. We think of them as a shield for our stomachs, but I learned they might be opening a backdoor threat to our hearts. I knew a lady in my neighborhood, a sweet woman who took an acid blocker every day for years. Her reflux was gone, so she thought she was perfectly fine. But during a routine checkup, her doctor found that her magnesium levels had absolutely crashed. Magnesium is the mineral that conducts the electrical rhythm of your heart. Without enough of it, your heart becomes electrically unstable and dangerous arrhythmias can start. When you take a pill that shuts off your stomach acid long term, you aren't just stopping heartburn. You are stopping your body's ability to absorb vital nutrients from your food, especially magnesium. Your heart is an electrical machine, and it needs that magnesium to keep a steady beat. I used to take one of those acid blockers occasionally when I ate too late. But after understanding what it does to the absorption of minerals, I changed my dinner time instead. I eat earlier, I eat lighter, and I let my stomach work the way it was designed to. The third item is one that catches people off guard because we only use it when we feel miserable. Oral decongestants for colds. The pills with pseudoephedrine. When you have a terrible cold and you can't breathe, those pills feel like magic. They open up your nose almost instantly. But here's the physical reality. Those decongestants work by constricting blood vessels. That's how they shrink the swollen tissues in your nose. But that medicine doesn't just stay in your nose. It circulates through your entire body, clamping down on blood vessels everywhere. For a younger person, that's a temporary annoyance. But for someone over 60, especially if you have a touch of high blood pressure, it's a crisis. Imagine trying to force the same amount of water through a hose that someone has suddenly squeezed tight. The pressure skyrockets. Your heart has to pump furiously against that new resistance. On top of that, these drugs act as stimulants, making your heart beat faster and sometimes irregularly. I remember catching a bad cold a few winters ago here in Arizona. I almost reached for one of those strong decongestants, but Daniel reminded me of the risk. Instead, I used a simple saline spray and ran a humidifier. It took a little longer to feel better, but I didn't put my heart through a stress test just to clear my sinuses. The fourth area is one that requires careful navigation, and that's certain older medications used for nerve pain and sometimes depression. These are the tricyclic antidepressants. A lot of folks our age are prescribed these not necessarily for mood, but to manage chronic pain, like the burning in the feet from diabetes. They can be effective for the pain, but they come with a heavy cost for an older heart. They can cause a sudden sharp drop in your blood pressure when you stand up. We've talked about how dangerous that can be. It starves the brain of blood and causes falls. But beyond that, these specific older drugs can interfere directly with the heart's electrical system. They can slow down the impulses that keep your heart beating in rhythm. It's like throwing grit into the gears of a finely tuned clock. If you or someone you love is taking one of these older medications for pain, it is absolutely worth sitting down with your doctor to ask if there is a newer, safer alternative that doesn't mess with the electrical wiring of your heart. The last item is one that stirs up a lot of debate, but I feel I have a duty to mention it based on what I've read and discussed with my kids. It's calcium supplements. For decades, the drumbeat has been constant. Take heavy calcium pills to protect your bones as you age. But the machinery of the body is complex. When you get calcium from a glass of milk or a plate of greens, your body digests it slowly and uses it where it's needed. When you swallow a highly concentrated calcium pill, you flood your bloodstream with a massive spike of the mineral all at once. Your bones can't absorb all of it that quickly. So, where does the excess go? The concern is that it deposits itself along the walls of your arteries. Over time, that calcium hardens the arteries, making them stiff and rigid, which is the exact opposite of what a healthy cardiovascular system needs. I used to think more was always better. Now I focus on getting my calcium from my meals. If a doctor tells me I absolutely need a supplement for my bones, I'm going to have a very long conversation about how that balances against the health of my arteries. I'm telling you all of this not to make you throw your medicine cabinet in the trash. Please, never stop a prescribed medication abruptly on your own. That can be incredibly dangerous. I'm telling you this because you need to be the foreman of your own bodily factory. The system is designed to treat isolated symptoms. A sore knee gets a pain pill. A stuffy nose gets a decongestant. But nobody is looking at the whole machine except you. You have to be the one who asks the questions. The next time you see your doctor, take every single bottle you use, prescriptions, over-the-counter pills, vitamins, and put them on the desk. Ask the hard questions. Is this pain pill making my heart work too hard? Is this stomach medicine draining my magnesium? Do I really need this calcium pill, or can I get it from my food? After 60, the margin for error gets smaller. The independence you love so much, the ability to walk your neighborhood or play with your grandkids, is protected by the small choices you make every day. The body doesn't ask twice in the same way. It gives you signs, and you have to listen. You have the power to protect that engine of yours. It has worked faithfully for you for decades. Don't burden it with chemicals it doesn't need. Keep it simple, keep it steady, and always ask questions. I'll be sitting right here next time we talk. Take care of yourself.